5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Secretary Zinke, thanks for being here today. It was good to see you in Idaho recently. And I hope the comments you heard there from Idahoans will have a positive impact on the decisions you make as Secretary. I recently heard from some Idaho companies that to print simple notices in the Federal Register, the BLM process takes up to 6 months or more or longer than the Forest Service process. I'm told that this is due to extra redundant steps of bureaucracy that do nothing more than delay. Mr. Secretary, I think you believe that this can be remedied by mirroring the Forest Service's process and implement through internal policy. It doesn't take an act of Congress. Will you work with me to make the necessary changes to address this issue?
I will. I look forward to working with you. I'm not sure the Forest Service, and I don't mean to be critical, it may be a better model than what we're doing, but I'm not sure the Forest Service is the best model. So I think we should work together to find the best model of which the Forest Service and BLM can be on the same page, because a lot of times the checkerboard system in the West, we should be consistent in superior performance.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that. In its FY18 budget justification, the Office of the Solicitor noted an anticipated increase in litigation brought against the department in the coming year. How does constant litigation impact the department's ability to fulfill its core missions?
Well, certainly being sued 6 times in the first day, and it's different because all of a sudden it's Ryan Zinke versus something, so they very artfully by name. I follow the law. So if the court mandates that we stop, desist, or change, then I'm going to follow the law. So does it slow me down, depending on the suit on it? I wish that the country was not as polarized as it should be. I think the law sometimes should be clearer on direction. I can tell you, we have a great staff of people that when we make a ROD or record of decision, I think it's based on science. It's based on what's appropriate in the best interest of the public lands and all parties concerned. So I'm pretty confident what we bring forward is a good piece, at least during my tenure. The courts may or may not see it differently, and it also depends on what court it is.
Yes. You recently issued a secretarial order on sage grouse. Can you describe your order and how you will involve states in the review process and beyond?
Yeah, and the secretarial order did 2 things. One is established a group, an advisory within Interior, because Fish and Wildlife, BLM, national parks in some cases, Bureau of Reclamation, we want to make sure that we are unified in our message. And 2, to give an indicator to the states that we are willing to look at the state issues and state plans, and because they're different. So we're going to be flexible in approach and not be one size fits all, to give latitude to the states, to include, if a state so chooses to look at numbers management of ice habitat, we're going to honor that, and then we're going to work with the state to determine what a healthy population would look like, and then work with the state to develop a management plan that addresses that. Vice just habitat alone. We also incorporated things like predator control, captive breeding, and give the states latitude in their development of their plan.
So during the previous administration, your predecessors repeatedly said that they were going to work with the states, but when the states had some plans, then they wouldn't follow the input of the states. Are you committing to this committee that we will work together with the states and we'll be able to have a better management and input from the states?
I am absolutely committed to work with the states. In many ways, I think the states are in a better position to manage the sage grouse than the federal government, and we should honor a flexible approach based on a variety of metrics to make sure that we do our part to ensure the bird does not get listed.
And finally, I wish Mr. McEachin was still here, but I thought his line of questioning was interesting. Last year, apparently he's a freshman, so maybe he didn't know this, but last year the OGR committee, the big oversight committee, not the the Natural Resources Oversight Committee had 4 hearings on sexual harassment, 2 in the National Park Service, 1 in the Forest Service, and 1 in the EPA. I don't mind having another hearing on that. I'm the oversight chairman, so here in Natural Resource, I don't mind having that hearing. But I thought it was interesting that he would accuse you of not doing something that happened under the previous administration, and all he had to do was ask me, and I would have agreed to do a hearing in our committee. It was never, so anyway, thank you very much.
Gentleman's time's expired.